Have you ever opened your phone for just a minute and then realized an hour has passed? One reel becomes 10, 10 becomes 100. You laugh, you pause, you scroll again. It feels like rest, but your brain feels tired. It feels like connection, but you haven't spoken to anyone. So why do we keep scrolling? Why does our thumb move before our mind even decides? What is happening inside us when we scroll daily, endlessly, habitually? This isn't just about apps or algorithms. It's about the psychology of our attention. It's about the small doses of belonging, validation, and meaning that social media promises and the emotional hunger that keeps us reaching for more. Science has a lot to say about this quiet ritual we all perform. Scrolling isn't just a habit. It's a mirror showing us what we crave, what we fear, and what we've lost. Let's look deeper. Let's explore the psychology of people who scroll every day. Not to judge, but to understand. 1. The dopamine loop. Every scroll is a gamble. Maybe the next post will be funny. Maybe it will be inspiring. Maybe it will sting. That maybe is the magic. Our brains are wired for reward prediction, a system powered by dopamine. When we scroll, we don't know what comes next, and that uncertainty keeps the dopamine flowing. Psychologists call it variable reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. Each swipe could reveal something emotionally rewarding, so the brain learns to crave the act itself, not the outcome. That's why scrolling feels both exciting and empty. We're not addicted to the content, we're addicted to the possibility of reward. And in that endless possibility, time dissolves. We chase stimulation to escape stillness. We scroll because silence has become too loud. 2. The social comparison effect. Scrolling is a window into 1,000 lives that seem more beautiful, more successful, more certain than ours. Even when we know it's filtered, our brains still compare. Leon Festinger called it social comparison theory, the drive to evaluate ourselves through others. On social media, the comparisons never end. We see highlight reels and mistake them for full stories. We measure our worth against illusions. For a moment, it can feel motivating, but soon that motivation turns to self-doubt. Our self-concept clarity, our sense of who we are begins to blur, because when we spend too long looking outward, we forget how to look inward. Still, we keep scrolling, because comparison gives direction. It tells us who we think we should be, even if it hurts. 3. The illusion of connection. We scroll to feel less alone, to see faces, words, lives, to feel part of something larger. But what we often feel is not true connection, it's imitation. Psychologists call it parasocial interaction, a one-sided bond with people who don't know we exist. It's not intimacy, but it feels close enough to comfort us. Every like, comment, or reaction gives a brief sense of being noticed. Our brains release oxytocin, the social bonding chemical, even when the connection is digital, but the feeling fades fast. We end up craving more, mistaking the simulation of connection for the real thing. It's a strange paradox. We are more connected than ever, yet loneliness is rising. Scrolling helps us escape loneliness for a moment, but often deepens it in the long run. Still, we scroll, because it's safer to witness connection than to risk asking for it. 4. The escape mechanism. Sometimes we scroll not out of interest, but out of avoidance. We scroll to silence our thoughts, to fill the quiet, to escape ourselves. Psychologists call this experiential avoidance, the act of distracting ourselves from uncomfortable emotions, sadness, anxiety, boredom. Instead of sitting with them, we scroll past them. Social media becomes emotional anesthesia. We feel something uncomfortable, and instead of feeling it, we replace it with stimulation. But emotions aren't meant to be escaped. They're meant to be processed. Avoidance doesn't erase discomfort, it delays it. And delayed emotions don't disappear. They deepen. Scrolling is a way to soothe, and sometimes that's okay. But healing doesn't happen in distraction. It happens in awareness, in learning to stay with what hurts. 5. The performance of the self. Online, we all become performers. Every caption, photo, or story becomes part of a stage. Psychologists call this impression management, shaping how we are perceived by others. We build a digital identity, carefully edited, brightly filtered, selectively shared. It's not who we are, but who we want to be seen as. This isn't vanity, it's survival in a culture that rewards visibility. We post to prove we exist. We check for likes to confirm we matter. But maintaining that identity is exhausting. The line between real and curated blurs, and the more validation we chase, the more fragile we feel without it. We become both actor and audience in our own lives, always performing, always observing, and yet the more we seek to be seen, the less seen we truly feel. 6. The loss of presence. Have you ever caught yourself scrolling during a conversation? You hear words but don't register them. You're there but half elsewhere. Psychologists describe this as attentional residue. When part of our focus remains stuck in the last thing we saw, our mind can't fully engage with what's here. Scrolling keeps our attention fragmented, scattered across dozens of small digital moments. Even when the phone is silent, our minds are still refreshing. The cost isn't just distraction, it's disconnection from the moment, from the people beside us, from ourselves. We trade presence for preoccupation, and presence is where life actually happens. Every scroll is a small withdrawal from reality. We lose the texture of time, the slow unfolding of now. Presence is memory in the making. When we scroll through life, we risk not remembering it at all. 7. The need for belonging. At the heart of every scroll lies a simple truth: we want to belong. Abraham Maslow placed belonging near the center of human motivation. We crave acceptance, to be seen, valued, and understood. Social media offers that illusion in digital form. Every like or comment whispers, "You're part of this." Every silence feels like rejection. Over time, our sense of belonging becomes externally controlled, what psychologists call an external locus of control. Our self-worth begins to depend on others' reactions, not our own reflection. We scroll not only to connect, but to confirm that we matter, to feel chosen. But real belonging isn't built through metrics. It's built through mutual presence, something algorithms can't measure. We can't be truly seen if we're always performing to be seen. 8. The myth of productivity. We often justify scrolling. I'm staying informed. I'm getting inspired. I'm learning something. But psychologists have a term for this illusion: pseudo-productivity. It's the feeling of being active without meaningful progress. We confuse consumption with creation. We absorb endless information without integration. It feels like growth, but it's really mental clutter. The brain mistakes activity for accomplishment, and we end up drained rather than enriched. We drown in fragments, facts, trends, opinions, but rarely pause to think deeply about any of them. Information is everywhere. Wisdom, however, requires stillness, and stillness is what scrolling takes away. 9. The fear of missing out. FOMO, the fear that everyone else is living better, happier, fuller lives. It's one of the strongest emotional forces behind our daily scroll. We check our feeds to make sure we're not missing something, a moment, a trend, a chance to belong. Psychologically, it's rooted in loss aversion, the human tendency to fear loss more than we value gain. We scroll not to feel joy, but to avoid feeling left out. Yet the more we chase what others are doing, the less connected we become to our own path. The anxiety of missing out blinds us to what's already here. Life is always happening not just on screens, but in our own small, unseen moments. FOMO fades when we stop measuring our life against others and start inhabiting our own. 10. The comfort of routine. Scrolling has become a ritual. Morning scroll, lunch scroll, midnight scroll. A rhythm our fingers follow automatically. Habits offer comfort, even when they don't serve us. Psychologists call this habitual reinforcement, when a behavior becomes so familiar it feels soothing just to repeat it. In an unpredictable world, the feed feels stable. We know what to expect: faces, opinions, laughter, outrage. It's the modern fireplace, something to gather around, even alone. There's tenderness in that repetition. Even when it numbs us, it anchors us. It gives the illusion of control in a world that feels too fast. But habits shape our minds. And if we fill every quiet moment with scrolling, we leave no room for wonder, reflection, or rest. Sometimes, what our minds need most isn't more content, it's space. We scroll because we're human, because our minds crave novelty, because our hearts crave connection, because our fears whisper that if we stop, we'll miss something important. But maybe what we're missing isn't out there, it's here. In the stillness we avoid, in the moments between swipes, in the reality waiting patiently beyond the screen. We don't need to quit scrolling entirely, we just need to scroll consciously. To remember that every moment online is borrowed from the present, because in the end, the goal isn't to stop scrolling, it's to start living again. They don't need to be seen to feel seen. They just need to look up. Found yourself in these words? Follow for more reflections on the hidden psychology of everyday life.